Have you ever wondered what truly captivates a Sigma woman? It's not what you think. Forget the charming smiles and subtle gestures. Sigma women are drawn to something far more primal, raw, unfiltered alpha energy. This video dives deep into why these powerful, independent women seek out the kind of authentic masculine strength that most shy away from. Did you know? Studies show that over 60% of independent women, those who thrive on their own, end up attracted to dominant alpha personalities. Surprising, right? Because Sigma women, of all people, already have options, yet they still gravitate toward the raw power of alpha energy. Sigma women don't just date, they connect on an entirely different plane. And what sparks that connection? Unapologetic, untamed alpha energy. This isn't about control, it's about the magnetic pull between two rare forces. Get ready, because this is where attraction gets real. You see her, confident, independent, untouchable. She's a Sigma, but who does she allow into her world? Not the smooth talker, not the pleaser. It's the man who carries raw, unshaken alpha presence. And today, I'll show you why. Hey Sigma Queens, welcome back. In this video, we're breaking down what you don't always realize about yourselves, your attraction to alpha men. This isn't simple chemistry, it's layered, it's complicated, it's intense. And if you've ever wondered why you feel that magnetic pull, this will give you the clarity you deserve. Here's the thing, alpha men can be overwhelming. Their dominance, their drive, their boldness, it can clash with your independence. And that's the paradox. You're drawn to them, but you hesitate, because part of you wants freedom while another part wants fire. So why chase a storm when you already walk with lightning? Enough talk, now it's time for some real talk. Why do Sigma women choose alpha males even when they have many options? Let's see. 1. Power meets power. When a Sigma female stands across from an alpha man, she doesn't see dominance. She sees a reflection of her own strength, and that moment is electric because she recognizes something very rare, someone who carries weight equal to hers. Most people misunderstand a Sigma female. They assume she wants to be the leader all the time, that she only thrives when she's the strongest voice in the room. But the truth is, she doesn't care about leading or following. She cares about authenticity. She values presence. She respects power when it's real, not when it's staged. And that's why, when she meets an alpha who carries himself with raw confidence, she feels something she doesn't feel with anyone else. It's not intimidation, it's recognition. For a Sigma female, most interactions feel heavy, like she's dragging the conversation or holding the energy together. She's often the one keeping the balance, setting the tone, making sure things stay grounded. But when she's in front of an alpha man, she doesn't have to do all of that. He holds his ground. He doesn't need her energy to stand tall because he already stands tall on his own. That balance creates a spark that's hard to explain, but impossible to ignore. Imagine two storms colliding in the sky. The clouds don't collapse into each other. They meet with thunder and lightning, and suddenly the air is charged with something new. That's how it feels for a Sigma female when she faces an alpha. She doesn't feel smaller, she doesn't feel overshadowed. She feels expanded, she feels understood without needing to say a word. And for someone who lives outside the usual boxes and refuses to settle for shallow connections, that's everything. Because here's what people don't realize. Sigma females aren't impressed by surface-level charm. They've seen it, they've rejected it, they've moved past it. What they want is depth. They want weight. They want someone who can sit across from them and not flinch. An alpha man, when he's real, provides exactly that. He's not trying to take her crown. He's wearing his own. And when a Sigma female sees that, she relaxes for the first time in a long time. She doesn't have to shrink, and she doesn't have to stretch. She can just be. That's why this dynamic is so rare, because it's not about dominance, it's about equality at the highest level. It's not about control, it's about resonance. Two forces meeting, not to compete, but to complete. And that's what makes the attraction between Sigma females and alpha men so magnetic. It's not cliché romance, It's not superficial chemistry, it's power meeting power. And when that happens, the world around them feels different because both finally see someone who doesn't just stand in the light, but becomes part of it. That recognition is why the pull is so undeniable. Does this sound familiar? Drop a comment if you've ever felt that instant electric recognition. 2. The thrill of resistance. A Sigma female is used to being untouchable, and that's not arrogance, it's just the reality she lives in, because most people don't have the strength, the confidence or the patience to meet her where she stands. She walks into a room and people either admire her from a distance or try to compete with her, and neither option excites her. She's bored by empty admiration and annoyed by pointless competition. What she secretly craves is resistance, someone who won't melt under her gaze or crumble when she challenges them, and that's where an alpha man enters the picture. Unlike others, he doesn't get nervous when she questions him. He doesn't back down when she tests him. He doesn't look for shortcuts to win her approval. Instead, he meets her fire with fire, and for a Sigma female, that is thrilling. Resistance to her doesn't mean hostility. It means strength. It means having someone who can hold their position without collapsing. She's used to people bending too quickly, saying yes too easily, and following her lead without a second thought. That might sound flattering, but to a Sigma, it's disappointing. She doesn't want to bulldoze her way through relationships. She wants to feel alive, engaged, tested. So when an alpha man pushes back, when he challenges her ideas, when he tells her no with steady confidence, it sends a signal she can't ignore. He's not here to worship her, and he's not here to control her. He's here to stand with her. That resistance becomes the spark of attraction because it proves that he's not just another person trying to get into her world without earning it. He shows her that his energy is strong enough to exist on its own, and that makes him valuable in her eyes. Imagine a warrior who finally finds an opponent worthy of battle. It's not about fighting to win. It's about finding someone who understands the fight itself. That's how a Sigma female feels when she experiences resistance from an alpha. It excites her. It grounds her. It challenges her to bring out more of herself. Without resistance, she feels dull, like she's playing games with no real prize. With resistance, she feels alive, like she's finally dancing with someone who knows the rhythm. The thrill isn't in domination or submission, it's in balance. It's in the back and forth, the challenge and response, the push and the pull. Resistance, when it's authentic, keeps her sharp, and she respects it deeply. That's why alpha men catch her attention in ways others never can, because they don't collapse under her strength. They rise with it. And for a Sigma female, that's irresistible. It's not about needing someone stronger. It's about wanting someone solid enough to stand their ground. Resistance isn't a wall, it's proof of worth. And when she feels it, she knows she's finally found something real. 3. Respect without words. For a Sigma female, respect is everything, and not the kind that comes dressed in compliments or exaggerated flattery, but the kind that shows up silently, through presence, through action, through energy. She doesn't need someone to constantly reassure her with words or promises, because she already knows her worth. She already stands solid in her independence. She already owns her identity. What she longs for, though, is someone who recognizes that worth without making her explain it, without asking her to prove it, without demanding that she dim her light just to make them feel brighter. That's why alpha men stand out to her in a way others never can. When an alpha enters her space, he doesn't overwhelm her with talk. He doesn't overcompensate with charm. He doesn't try to outshine her with theatrics. His presence alone speaks volumes. It says, "I see you. I respect you. I know what you're made of." And for a Sigma female, that silent respect is more powerful than 1,000 empty words. She's dealt with people who only see her surface, who call her mysterious without understanding her depth, who admire her strength but secretly want to break it down, and all of that leaves her unfulfilled. But when an alpha man respects her without needing explanations, when he acknowledges her power without fearing it, it hits different. It tells her she can finally be herself without carrying the whole weight of validation. Respect without words is subtle. It's in the way he looks her in the eyes and doesn't look away. It's in the way he listens, not to reply but to understand. It's in the way he stands next to her, not in front of her, not behind her, but beside her. And that alignment means everything to a Sigma female, because she doesn't want to be placed on a pedestal she never asked for, and she doesn't want to be dragged into submission either. She wants equality. She wants recognition. She wants her strength honored, not tested, not weakened, not dismissed. Alpha men, when real, offer exactly that. They know who they are, so they don't need to belittle her to feel bigger. They're secure in their own identity, so they don't demand that she shrink hers. And that quiet confidence creates a language that goes beyond words, a language of mutual respect that only the strongest can understand. For a Sigma female, that's priceless, because she doesn't have to perform, she doesn't have to justify, she doesn't have to translate her soul into something digestible. She can just exist, fully, freely, and know that he sees her for who she is. That's why respect without words feels sacred to her. It's not about what's said, it's about what's shown. And when she feels that kind of recognition, she knows she's not dealing with someone ordinary. She's standing across from someone extraordinary, someone who understands that true respect is silent but undeniable. 4. Freedom with security. A Sigma female guards her freedom like it's oxygen, because without it she can't breathe, she can't think, she can't exist the way she's built to exist. She values independence above everything else, and it's not negotiable. Too many times she's met people who mistake love for control, who think closeness means possession, who confuse commitment with chains, and for a Sigma female that's the quickest way to make her run. She will not stay where her wings are clipped. She will not stay where her choices are monitored. She will not stay where her soul feels small. That's why her connection to an alpha man feels so different, because instead of suffocating her, his presence gives her more space to breathe. He's not threatened by her freedom. He's not intimidated by her independence. He doesn't see her autonomy as a problem to fix. He sees it as part of her power, and instead of trying to cage it, he respects it. That's the paradox that so many miss. An alpha man, when secure in himself, doesn't take away a Sigma female's freedom, he strengthens it. His security gives her security. His confidence makes her more confident. Because he's not fragile, he doesn't need to hold her down just to feel tall. He stands tall on his own, and that allows her to keep standing tall too. For a Sigma female, this changes everything. She doesn't have to choose between love and independence. She doesn't have to choose between connection and freedom. With an alpha, she gets both. He creates a foundation that feels solid, and from that foundation, she can fly higher. That's the magic of freedom with security. She can go out into the world, chase her vision, walk her path, and when she comes back, she knows she's not coming back to chains. She's coming back to someone who holds steady, who doesn't collapse without her, who doesn't demand constant proof of loyalty. That balance gives her peace, and peace is rare for a Sigma female because most of the time she's on guard, protecting her energy, defending her space. But with the right alpha, she doesn't feel the need to defend. She feels safe enough to expand. This doesn't mean she becomes dependent. It means she becomes more powerful, because now she can be fully herself without fear. And that's the deepest freedom of all. Security isn't control. Security is knowing someone won't fall apart when you're not there. Security is knowing someone's strength stands beside you, not on top of you. And when a Sigma female feels that, she realizes that love doesn't have to shrink her world. Love can actually make it bigger. That's the difference. That's why freedom with security matters. It's not about compromise. It's about harmony. It's about having the space to fly and the trust that home will still be there, solid, steady, unshaken. For a Sigma female, that's the only kind of connection worth keeping. If you're feeling this, hit subscribe right now so you don't miss the next point. 5. Emotional fire. A Sigma female is not built for bland connections. She is not wired for relationships that feel safe but empty. She doesn't light up for people who bring her calm but no spark, because calm without depth feels like silence without meaning, and for her that is unbearable. What she craves, what her soul demands, is emotional fire, the kind of intensity that shakes her core, that makes her heart beat faster, that reminds her she is alive. With most people she feels nothing. She feels like she is holding back her own flame just to match their dim light, and that leaves her drained. But when she meets an alpha man, the fire is undeniable. His energy is raw, his passion is fierce, his drive is relentless, and instead of dulling her spark, it fuels it. Together they create a fire that is not destructive but transformative. For a Sigma female, this is what makes everything different, because she is not interested in lukewarm affection or half-hearted attention. She wants to feel consumed, inspired, ignited. Emotional fire with an alpha man shows up in small moments and big ones. It's in the way he looks at her with conviction, like he's not afraid of the intensity in her eyes. It's in the way he doesn't just listen, but challenges, making her think harder, dig deeper, feel more. It's in the way he brings his own ambition, his own vision, his own hunger to the table, so she never feels like she's carrying all the weight. With him, there's passion in conversation, passion in silence, passion in the way they clash and the way they connect. And this passion doesn't scare her, it excites her, because she finally sees someone who can handle the full force of her emotions without shrinking, someone who can stand in the fire and not run. Many people mistake Sigma females for being cold, but that's never the truth. They are passionate to their core, but they hide it because most can't handle it. An alpha man proves he can. He meets her intensity with his own, and that makes her open up in ways she never does otherwise. That emotional fire is not about chaos, it's about depth. It's about feeling something real, something that burns away the fake, something that leaves only truth behind. A Sigma female would rather feel heartbreak than emptiness. She would rather risk being burned than live in the dull safety of mediocrity, and that's why she is pulled toward alpha energy again and again. Because he doesn't dim her fire, he multiplies it. Together they burn brighter, not smaller. That's what makes this dynamic so powerful, so addictive, so unforgettable. It's not just romance, it's not just attraction, it's two flames meeting, colliding, and creating something neither could have alone. For a Sigma female, that kind of emotional fire is rare, and once she finds it, she knows it's worth everything. 6. The pull of confidence. Confidence isn't taught, it's felt, and alpha men radiate it, not the fake kind, the kind that makes you feel safe dropping your guard for once. A Sigma female has zero patience for insecurity dressed up as confidence. She spots it instantly, the fake charm, the forced bravado, the loud arrogance that tries to mask fear, and to her that is a turn-off bigger than anything else. She doesn't need a man to be perfect, she doesn't need him to have it all figured out, but she needs him to stand solid in who he is, because she already stands solid in who she is, and she refuses to carry someone else's broken ego on her shoulders. That's why the pull of confidence from an alpha man is so magnetic for her. He doesn't have to shout about his strength, he doesn't have to prove himself every second, he simply exists in his own skin without apology, and that's what she respects. For a Sigma female, this kind of confidence is oxygen, because it allows her to finally drop her guard. She doesn't have to analyze every word, she doesn't have to question every motive. She doesn't have to hold back pieces of herself just to avoid intimidating him. She can relax into the connection, knowing he isn't scared of her power, he isn't jealous of her independence, he isn't unsettled by her silence. His confidence makes space for hers, and that's a rare gift. The pull of confidence also shows up in the way an alpha man navigates the world. He makes decisions without flinching. He stands by his choices without wavering. He doesn't crumble under pressure. And for a Sigma female watching that, it's not just attractive, it's reassuring. Because deep down, she wants someone who can hold steady when storms hit. Someone who won't collapse when life gets messy. Someone who will stand strong not because he has to, but because it's who he is. She respects that kind of stability because it matches her own. Confidence isn't loudness, it isn't dominance, it isn't ego, and she knows that. It's quiet certainty, it's self-awareness, it's strength that doesn't need validation. And when she sees that in an alpha man, she feels safe enough to show her softer side. For a Sigma female, vulnerability is rare because she doesn't trust easily, but true confidence in another person unlocks something inside her. She feels like she can finally share her heart without fearing weakness. She feels like she can finally rest without losing herself. She feels like she can finally let someone in without being taken advantage of. That's the real pull of confidence. It's not that he makes her smaller, it's that he allows her to be bigger without resistance. Together they amplify each other instead of competing. His presence says, "I know who I am," and that lets her say, "I can be fully who I am." And for a Sigma female, that's priceless. That's what makes her lean in. That's what makes her stay, because confidence isn't just attractive, it's the foundation of a connection she can trust. 7. Balance of chaos and calm. A Sigma female carries calm like a second skin. She walks into chaos and somehow the room steadies. She doesn't need to raise her voice or demand attention. She simply radiates a quiet force that shifts the energy around her. People often mistake this calm for coldness, but it's not distance, it's discipline, it's self-mastery, it's the ability to stay centered no matter what storm is raging outside. That's why when she meets an alpha man, someone who embodies raw chaos, loud energy, unfiltered drive, the chemistry is explosive because it's storm meeting silence, thunder meeting stillness, and together they create a balance that neither could achieve alone. For a Sigma female, life without balance is suffocating. Too much calm makes her restless. Too much chaos makes her drained, but the right mixture of both keeps her alive. The alpha brings heat, movement, and momentum. He pushes boundaries, he shakes the ground, he refuses to settle, and while that could feel overwhelming to most women, to a Sigma it feels like fuel. Her calm keeps him steady, his chaos keeps her lit. It's not a clash, it's a dance. She slows him down when his fire risks burning everything, and he speeds her up when her silence risks turning into isolation. This balance is not about compromise, it's about complement. Each brings what the other lacks, and together they form a rhythm that feels natural, magnetic, undeniable. Imagine a river meeting fire. The water doesn't disappear, and the flames don't vanish. Instead, they shape each other, creating steam, energy, force, transformation. That's the essence of this balance. A Sigma female doesn't crave constant noise. She values peace, but too much peace without passion feels like emptiness, and she refuses to live a life that feels empty. An alpha man doesn't crave constant control. He values motion, but too much motion without grounding burns him out, and he needs a force that steadies him without dimming him. That's where she steps in. Together, they form something that looks contradictory from the outside, but feels perfect on the inside. People will ask how it works, how someone so calm can thrive with someone so chaotic, but the answer is simple: balance. She doesn't try to cage his wildness, and he doesn't try to break her stillness. Instead, they learn to dance between the two, to honor both chaos and calm as necessary forces. For a Sigma female, this is rare. Most partners either drain her calm or dismiss it, but an alpha values it, because he knows it's the only thing that can ground his fire without killing it. And she values his chaos, because she knows it's the only thing that can ignite her silence without consuming it. That balance is why their connection lasts. It's not fragile, it's not one-sided, it's a dynamic equilibrium that feeds both. For a Sigma female, finding that balance with an alpha isn't just attraction, it's destiny. Final stop, viewers. Quick pause. Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Sigmas and Alphas are natural matches? 8. Growth through fire. At the end of the day, you want someone who doesn't just admire you, but pushes you to expand. Alpha energy keeps you growing, not shrinking. A Sigma female is not interested in staying the same. She doesn't want to live a life of comfort that slowly drains her edge. She doesn't want to surround herself with people who only tell her what she wants to hear, because deep down, she knows growth doesn't come from safety. It comes from fire. She respects challenge, she thrives in resistance, and she understands that the right kind of pressure can shape her into something sharper, stronger, and more alive. That's why when she connects with an alpha man, the dynamic often feels like standing inside a firestorm. Not destructive, but refining, because his presence constantly pushes her to expand beyond her limits. He doesn't settle for average. He doesn't let her get away with hiding, and he won't allow her to shrink herself just to stay comfortable. For some women, that would feel exhausting, but for a Sigma, it feels necessary. She doesn't want a partner who lets her coast. She wants a partner who reminds her of her potential, who challenges her excuses, who pushes her to rise higher. Growth through fire isn't easy. It comes with friction, with conflict, with intensity. But that intensity is what keeps her alive. She knows she is strong, but strength without challenge becomes stagnant, and she refuses to stagnate. An alpha man, when he's grounded, provides that perfect level of pressure, not to break her, but to sharpen her. He holds her accountable, he pushes her vision, he calls out her walls, and in doing so, he forces her to grow. At the same time, her fire does the same for him. She challenges his ego, she questions his motives, she refuses to be another admirer in the crowd, and that forces him to keep evolving too. Together, they become mirrors, reflecting not only each other's strengths, but also each other's weaknesses, and that reflection is powerful. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also transformative. For a Sigma female, this kind of relationship is rare, because most people either hold her back or let her run unchecked. Very few can stand with her in the fire and not run, but an alpha man can, and that's why growth through fire feels so magnetic. It's not about destruction, it's about evolution. It's about burning away the false layers, the fear, the hesitation, and leaving behind only truth, only strength, only clarity. She doesn't just want love, she wants love that transforms her, that forces her to level up, that makes her more of who she already is. And that's what an alpha brings when the dynamic is right. He doesn't let her play small, and she doesn't let him hide behind arrogance. Together, they rise, not because it's easy, but because the fire leaves them no choice but to become greater. For a Sigma female, that's not just attraction, it's purpose. And here's the real insight. It's not about alpha men being stronger, because strength isn't the reason a Sigma female feels that undeniable pull. She's not looking for someone to overpower her. She's not attracted to dominance for the sake of dominance. What she's craving is something deeper, something harder to explain but impossible to ignore. It's the mirror of her own intensity, reflected back at her in a form she rarely sees. When a Sigma female meets an alpha man, what she recognizes isn't a rival or a controller, but a reflection, a reminder of the hidden fire she carries within herself. She sees her own drive in his drive, her own fearlessness in his fearlessness, her own refusal to settle in his relentless ambition. That's what makes it magnetic. It's not submission, it's resonance. It's not weakness, it's recognition. Most of the time, a Sigma female has to dim parts of her fire just to coexist with people who can't handle it. She stays quiet, she holds back, she softens her edges so she doesn't burn those around her. But when she encounters alpha energy, she doesn't have to shrink. Instead, she feels free to release her full power, because for once she's met someone who won't break under the heat. That's the hidden truth behind the attraction. It's not about alpha energy controlling her, it's about alpha energy giving her space to be fully herself. And that realization shifts everything. So what Sigma women often miss is this. Your attraction isn't weakness, it's not surrender, it's not contradiction, it's recognition. You see yourself in alpha energy, the same unbreakable spirit, the same hunger, the same fire, just expressed in a different form. This is why it feels so electric, because it's not two opposites colliding, it's two equals resonating. It's not about control, it's about connection. It's about finding someone who doesn't just stand beside you, but someone who understands the weight of what it means to carry fire inside and still keep walking forward. That's why the bond feels unexplainable to others, because it's not logical, it's primal, it's soul-level recognition, and once you feel it, you can't deny it. If this spoke to you, share your story below. Sigma Sisters, have you ever felt that magnetic pull to alpha energy, that fire that made you see yourself in someone else's strength? I want to hear it, because your story isn't just yours, it's part of a bigger truth about what it means to love, to grow, and to connect at the deepest level. And if you loved this breakdown, check out my other video on the secret dynamics of Sigma relationships, because trust me, you won't want to miss what's waiting there. This journey doesn't stop here. There's always more to uncover, more to learn, more to grow into, and together we'll keep exploring it all.